The Buddhist Path to Finding Your True Purpose. Do you ever feel like you're just going through the motions, yearning for something more? In our fast-paced, modern world, many of us report feeling disconnected, empty, and asking what's it all for? Perhaps you're working hard, checking all the boxes of success, yet there's a restless ache inside as if life is calling you to wake up. You may recognize that unnameable sense of dissatisfaction described by spiritual teachers. Despite outward success, a vague malaise and longing grows. This subtle discontent is like an inner call to awaken. Across traditions, people feel this pull. As one writer notes, even when we meet the markers of success in careers and relationships, we can begin to sense life losing its meaning and purpose. For many, that something more isn't a new possession or a bigger salary. It's a deep inner awakening. In Buddhism, this very feeling is a starting point on the journey to finding your true purpose, understanding suffering and purpose. Buddhism begins with radical honesty. Life involves suffering. The Buddha's first teachings, the Four Noble Truths, declare that ordinary life is infused with dukkha, a deep sense of dissatisfaction and pain. We chase pleasures, possessions, and achievements, only to find them fleeting and incomplete. The Buddha explained that this suffering arises from craving and ignorance, but crucially, he also taught that suffering can end. This is the first hint of purpose. Our true purpose is not merely to pursue comfort or fame, but to transcend suffering itself. In Buddhism, a meaningful life is often described as a life of liberation, freedom from the chains of habit, craving, and pain. As one Buddhist teacher puts it, Buddhism is clear about what a meaningful life is, a life of liberation from our habitual, self-centered patterns. Thus, the path to purpose in Buddhism starts by recognizing how our normal ways of living keep us trapped, and by finding a way out through wisdom and compassion. The practical side of this teaching is the Noble Eightfold Path, a set of guiding principles for ethical and mindful living. Rather than a single goal, this path offers steps to cultivate purpose every day. For example, right speech reminds us to speak honestly and kindly, no lying or harsh words, and right action reminds us not to harm others, no killing, stealing, or cheating. Living this way brings a sense of integrity and meaning far beyond material success. The path also teaches right livelihood, earning an honest living that doesn't harm others, and higher practices like right mindfulness and concentration, being fully present in each moment. In other words, Buddha's path asks us to tune into what truly matters: kindness, truth, and awareness. When we live by these principles, day by day, moment by moment, we align with a purpose rooted in compassion and wisdom. The Buddha himself demonstrated this. He rejected both luxury and extreme asceticism and instead embraced the middle way to enlightenment. Spice.fsi.stanford.edu, showing that purpose comes not from extremes, but from balance and insight. The Four Sights, inspiration from the Buddha's journey. To understand this path, it helps to look at Siddhartha Gautama's story. As a young prince, he lived in splendor and comfort, yet he felt a deep unease. One day, he convinced his guards to let him leave the palace. Outside, he encountered the Four Sights: an old man, a sick man, a corpse, and a wandering monk. These encounters shook him to the core. Up until then, he'd been sheltered from the realities of aging, illness, and death. Now he saw that these were unavoidable facts of life. The fourth sight, a serene seeker of truth, sparked a question in Siddhartha's heart. Is there a way to go beyond suffering? That question became his purpose. At age 29, Siddhartha left his royal life behind to seek understanding. After years of disciplined practice, he meditated under the Bodhi tree and attained enlightenment. In that moment, he experienced awakening, seeing clearly the causes of suffering and the path beyond it. He even gained the power to perceive his own past lives and the endless cycle of birth and death. This pivotal insight tells us something crucial. True understanding of self and purpose may lie beyond our ordinary experience. The Buddha's life shows us that when we follow the instinct that something deeper is missing, we can discover a purpose far greater than personal comfort. His awakening in his first sermon, the First Discourse, provided a map for others. Life is tinged with suffering, but by practicing insight and compassion, we can find freedom. Embracing impermanence and nikka, one of the first lessons on the Buddhist path is to see reality as it is, everything changes. Impermanence, and Anicca in Pali, means that all things, our bodies, our emotions, our relationships, even the planet, are in constant flux. Nothing has a permanent, solid core. As Lion's Roar magazine explains, the truth of impermanence is a foundation of Buddhism and the starting place of the path to enlightenment. In practical terms, this means that clinging to a fixed idea of who we are or what we want will only lead to pain when life inevitably changes. Imagine a flower in full bloom. For a moment it radiates vibrant life, but petals fall and the bloom fades. If we hold on to the idea that the flower will stay forever as it is, we suffer when it wilts. Buddhism invites us to learn from the flower's example. By fully acknowledging change, we become wiser and more flexible. The Buddha taught that our struggle against impermanence, try to freeze time, is the root of all suffering. When we deeply internalize the fact that everything is transient, we naturally ease our grip on expectations and find greater peace. As one writer puts it, recognizing impermanence lets us navigate life with greater ease, flexibility, and wisdom, reducing attachment and its attendant suffering. So how does this relate to purpose? Paradoxically, embracing impermanence can actually give life more meaning. If everything changes, then this very moment, this breath, this day, is precious. Knowing that our life is not endless can awaken a sense of urgency to live purposefully now. It also frees us to evolve. Just as the seasons turn, our sense of purpose may grow and shift. In Buddhism, clinging to a rigid identity or goal is counterproductive. A wiser approach is to stay open, adapt, and let our purpose unfold with changing circumstances. Impermanence in practice. Meditation is one way to feel impermanence directly. As we watch thoughts, sensations, or emotions arise and pass away on the cushion, we grasp the impermanence of experience firsthand. This insight makes us less likely to cling to pleasure or fear loss, leading to freedom and less suffering. Embracing impermanence does not mean despair. Rather, it means seeing life as dynamic and alive. When we stop fighting the natural flow, we can flow with it. This is at the heart of Buddha's teaching on Anicca, karma, rebirth, and past lives. Another core Buddhist teaching is karma, the universal law of moral cause and effect. Every intentional thought, word, or deed plants a seed that will ripen in the future. The Stanford History of Buddhism explains that all positive thoughts and actions create good karma, potentially leading to happier rebirths, while negative deeds create bad karma, leading to more suffering and lower rebirths. In other words, we are authors of our own destiny. This means that our purpose is partly something we create through our choices. If we act with kindness and wisdom today, we are shaping a path toward meaningful outcomes. Conversely, unskillful actions keep us entangled in samsara, the cycle of rebirth and suffering. Buddhism sees the cycle of rebirth, samsara, as another form of impermanence. Each life is another turn on the wheel, another opportunity to learn and grow. As the Stanford text notes, the endless cycle of rebirth reflects the impermanent nature of human existence. An astonishing detail of Buddha's enlightenment was that he remembered his former lives. This suggests that our identity is not limited to a single lifetime. Whether or not you take rebirth literally, the symbolism is powerful. The experiences of past lives can be seen as the deep conditioning that shapes who we are today. Old habits and limiting beliefs often feel ancient, as if carried over lifetimes. But the good news is that just as each life ended, each moment can end negative cycles. Our purpose can be to gradually purify our karma by living better, helping others, and cultivating wisdom. Over time, with effort and compassion, we free ourselves from the past and create a future guided by our highest intentions. Consider that your life is woven from many moments and many influences. The Buddha's view reminds us that anyone can change direction, no matter what's happened before. Even the Buddha, who was born a privileged prince, chose to abandon that life and dedicate himself to understanding suffering. In the same way, any mistakes you've made don't define you. Buddhist teachers emphasize that redemption and transformation are always possible. For instance, the Tibetan Saint Milarepa started as a vengeful youth who took lives with dark magic. Filled with remorse, he searched for a spiritual teacher and spent years doing rigorous practices to atone. In the end, Milarepa dedicated his life to awakening and spent years teaching and caring for others. His story shows that even the deepest regrets can become a springboard for serving others. Similarly, the notorious bandit Angulimala nearly killed his own mother in a quest driven by jealousy. When he met the Buddha, his murderous mind was transformed by a few words. Hearing Buddha say, I have stopped all harm to living beings," broke the cycle of anger. Angulimala threw away his weapon and became a monk. These stories aren't just ancient tales. They illustrate a universal truth. No matter how far you've wandered, you can change course and find purpose through compassion and insight, meditation, mindfulness, and the dream state. To find purpose, Buddhism heavily emphasizes inner work. Meditation and mindfulness are key tools to know ourselves and connect to our deepest intentions. Buddhism actually describes meditation as a balanced state of alert, relaxed awareness. It's not about zoning out. It's about being fully present. The ancient texts urge us to be diligently aware and attentive in each moment. In our daily life, this could mean noticing our breath when we wake up, feeling how our body moves as we walk, or catching our thoughts before we react. This awake, attentive mind helps us uncover our true needs and purpose. As one meditation instructor put it, for a meaningful life, we must look deeply inside ourselves to find a place of contentment and clear awareness. Through regular meditation, we discover a quiet, stable ground within, a birthright of clarity that everyone can access. Mindfulness also heightens empathy and compassion. In deep meditation or even in dreams, we realize how insubstantial and interconnected everything is. Tibetan Buddhism has even developed dream yoga, practices to remain aware during dreams. Lucid dreaming becomes a laboratory where one can practice non-attachment and transform negative patterns. As teacher Andrew Holacek explains, lucid dreams by themselves can create karma, but when used skillfully as dream yoga, they actually purify our minds. In dream yoga, you might confront fears in a nightmare and learn they are not real, or practice turning objects in your dream to see how malleable reality is. Buddha himself said that after enlightenment, we awaken to see the world as open and impermanent instead of solid and fixed. This insight gained even in sleep carries into waking life. We no longer take things so personally because we understand a mind's illusions. Buddha's life is entwined with the metaphor of sleep and waking. After awakening, he famously declared, "I am awake," and his title Buddha literally means awaken one, from the root Bu to awaken. He explained that we are often most spiritually blind in our so-called waking state, and that it's in deep, restful awareness, like dreamless sleep, where we align with truth. In other words, the purpose is to wake up in every sense. When you quiet your mind through meditation, you give the parts of you that feel lost a chance to speak. In the stillness, you might hear an inner answer or guidance. Over time, this practice rewires you. Science confirms that meditation increases wakefulness and clarity in the brain. Key practice: begin with simple breathing meditation. Even 5 to 10 minutes each day of sitting quietly and watching your breath can cultivate that relaxed alertness Buddhists talk about. Notice when thoughts drift and gently bring attention back. This trains your mind to stay present, which is a ground for any deeper insight or purpose to arise. Stories of transformation. Real-life examples can illustrate these teachings. Think of people who struggle with dark pasts or serious challenges, yet found meaning through inner work. Angulimala, the killer who became a monk, and Milarepa are classic Buddhist examples of such a turnaround. In modern times, we see similar stories. Someone hits rock bottom with addiction or despair, then begins meditation, maybe finds a spiritual mentor, and eventually helps others. The details vary, but the theme is the same. Awakening can ignite even after tragedy or error. The Buddha's teachings on karma remind us that our worst moments can plant the seeds for our greatest breakthroughs. If you feel haunted by guilt or failure, these Buddhist stories suggest that your purpose might very well be to learn compassion for yourself and others from that experience. As one teacher notes, Angulimala kept his murderous name on purpose, as a constant reminder of where he'd been and how far he'd come. Now he uses that story to inspire forgiveness and change in others. You, too, can turn past pain into purpose by sharing what you've learned or simply living with more awareness. The universe has a way of repurposing our suffering into wisdom if we stay awake and open to the lesson, aligning with your Dharma. In Buddhism, Dharma refers both to Buddha's teachings and to the cosmic way things are, but it also carries a sense of personal duty or path. Finding your authentic calling means aligning your life with these deeper truths. Buddhism doesn't say there's one fixed destiny you must follow. Instead, it encourages you to act ethically and wisely in every situation. Over time, acting from wisdom and compassion reveals what really matters to you. Practical ethics, the practice of virtue, is foundational. Without a stable moral ground, peace of mind is shaky. As one Buddhist professor explains, developing the solidity of the body through virtuous actions leads to solidity of mind. When your actions align with kindness and honesty, you cultivate a quiet inner confidence. This quietude is the basis for insight and purpose. Conversely, if you're constantly in conflict or harming others, it's very hard to feel any sense of right purpose. The Buddha urged that our true purpose is intimately bound up with the welfare of others. The Dharma teaches that as we develop clarity, we naturally turn it outward in compassion. A meaningful life from the Buddhist perspective is one where we always look to what we can do for someone else to help them find a more meaningful and clear life for themselves. In other words, your purpose cannot be wholly selfish. It blossoms when you start caring about others' liberation as much as your own. This does not mean you must become a hermit. Instead, it means infusing everyday actions, how you talk, how you work, how you love, with awareness and love. Key Buddhist insights for purpose. Impermanence and Nika, all things are in flux. Embrace change as part of life, which frees you to adapt your purpose as you grow. Karma, every choice matters. Act as if your intentions now plant seeds for your future. Good actions foster good results, guiding your path organically. Compassion, Karuna, helping others transforms both them and you. Buddhism teaches that a meaningful life includes caring for the suffering of others. Even small acts of kindness ripple with purpose. Mindfulness, stay present in each moment. By paying full attention to your thoughts and actions, you gain clarity on what feels truly meaningful and what doesn't. Continuous awakening. Remember that purpose is not a fixed destination, but an unfolding journey. Your understanding of purpose will deepen in stages, not all at once. Practical steps to awaken your purpose. The Buddhist Path offers many practical practices to guide you toward purpose. Here are some steps you can start today. Begin a daily meditation practice. Find a quiet spot and spend even just 5 minutes a day focusing on your breath. This simple discipline cultivates inner clarity and contentment. Over time, meditation reveals your habitual thoughts and frees you from being so driven by them. It's in that stillness that new insights about your direction often arise. Reflect on impermanence. Each night or morning, spend a moment thinking about change. What came into your life and left? What will inevitably change? This is not meant to be morbid, but liberating. Acknowledging impermanence reduces the fear of failure and loss. It also makes each day feel precious, urging you to live meaningfully now rather than postponing life for someday. Practice mindful awareness. In daily tasks, drinking tea, walking, conversing, do them with full attention. Notice when your mind drifts to worries or fantasies, and gently bring it back. This trains you to really see what's happening now. With mindfulness, you start to notice what truly motivates you versus what habitually drives you. As one teacher says, mindfulness helps us see what's really going on and find a quiet place inside. Cultivate compassionate action. Look around. Who needs help? It could be as small as listening to a friend without agenda or volunteering once a month. Compassion doesn't have to be grand gestures. It's about the intention to ease another's suffering. Even simple acts train your heart and reveal your purpose. Often, what we do for others shows us what we value and who we are meant to serve. Explore your dreams and inner life. Pay attention to your dreams as messages from the subconscious. You might even keep a dream journal. Sometimes, our dreams reveal hidden hopes or fears related to purpose. In the Buddhist tradition, dreams are viewed as a field for practice. By engaging with them consciously, dream yoga, we learn about our inner blocks. See how Buddhists say that in dreams we can transform fear into courage and depression into hope. By experimenting with your dreams, you may gain clues to your deeper passions or insights you wouldn't get while awake. Study and reflect on Buddhist teachings. Reading about Buddhism is like having a wise teacher. You don't have to become a monk to apply its wisdom. Start with simple ideas, the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, stories of the Buddha. Notice how these principles resonate with your life. When you encounter a teaching that strikes you, say, on non-attachment or kindness, try to apply it the next day and see the difference. Set intentions and goals with purpose. Once your mind is clearer, write down what truly matters to you. Maybe you want to help heal the environment, teach others, create art, or simply be a calmer presence in your community. Identify a few small, concrete goals aligned with those values. For instance, if growth is important, set a goal to learn something new weekly. If service is your calling, commit to a regular volunteer commitment. Having goals is fine so long as you remember they serve your deeper purpose, not the other way around. Balance inner and outer life. Life's practical demands will always be there. Work, family, bills. Buddhism teaches to find a balance between the spiritual and the mundane. Don't abandon your life duties. Instead, infuse them with awareness and kindness. Wash dishes with gratitude. Treat colleagues with respect. Pay attention to your breathing between meetings. In this way, you carry your awakened intention into every corner of life. As Douglas Powers observes, the challenge for modern people is balancing spiritual practice, like meditation, with practical life, work, family. Both can enrich each other. Your insights make you more effective in life, and your life experiences provide material for deeper practice. Living your awakened purpose, a continuous journey. Finding your true purpose is not a one-time event, but an ongoing journey. Imagine a winding road stretching into the horizon, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy, but always unfolding step by step. Buddhism invites us to see our purpose the same way, not as a fixed endpoint, but as a path that continually reveals itself. In fact, spiritual writers note that awakening doesn't follow a strict linear path. It's more like a spiral that repeatedly deepens our understanding. One moment of insight gives way to another, gradually transforming how we experience life. Embracing this perspective frees us from the pressure of finally arriving. Instead, each day becomes meaningful if we make it so. Every time you practice mindfulness, show compassion, or remember impermanence, you're living your awakened purpose in that moment. Even setbacks and changes are part of the journey, teaching you resilience and humility. As impermanence teachings remind us, nothing stays the same. Our purpose may evolve as we grow. Now is the time to integrate these principles into your life. Start small. Pick 1 or 2 practices from above. Commit to them for a week and feel the subtle changes. Notice how kindness or awareness shifts your perspective. Day by day, these changes accumulate. You may not become a Buddha overnight, but you'll become more awake, more aligned with your deepest values. Remember, you are the hero of your own spiritual journey. The Buddha's ancient wisdom lights the path, but only you can walk it. By embracing change, acting with integrity, and caring for others, you gradually uncover your true calling. As one teacher beautifully put it, we work with compassion, forgiveness, and letting go. We know that our unhealthy past is not who we really are. Your past mistakes or perceived flaws do not define you. What matters is the present moment and the choices you make in it. In closing, know that every question you've asked, is this it? Is there more? Is a valuable companion on this quest. Let those questions propel you into practice and discovery. Buddhism teaches that purpose is found not by clinging to an answer, but by awakening to reality as it is. So live fully, love deeply, and keep seeking. In that ongoing unfolding, you'll find a life of profound meaning and impact